guys, thank you very much, Bob. Um, I'll tell you what, let's go to where we are on Intel right now. I do want to thank everybody for coming in and listening again. As I said, we're going to continue to do these calls until this blessing comes, and then we'll take some time off. We'll take about a month off or so to get things ready to do more advanced podcasts and do interviews and so on that we're going to handle later. But I really do feel like, you people that are listening need to realize most of the time I don't feel like we're going to be doing another call because I think that we're right there. And the same thing was true yesterday with all the information that was coming in. I thought, oh man, we're not going to have a call on Thursday probably. And but here we are tonight. And I do not expect to do a call on the following Thursday, on Thanksgiving, just so that you know. We are planning not to do a call for next Thursday. But in the meantime, until we get there, what I'm hearing right now, it's interesting because we've got some things that we can't quite get confirmation on, one of which is Iraq. We know that the intention was for Iraq to start a new series of celebrations today. We were told last night that 1 hour after early morning prayer, which was at 5:23 in the morning this morning, Baghdad time, an hour after that, that they would be starting celebrations. Now, I'm understanding today they're still in prep mode for those celebrations. I don't think they started today, but my understanding yesterday was that they were planning to. So let's say they may hold off for a day or so on those. But we know that, and it may make sense that they start tomorrow instead of today, because, Iraq has been waiting for entry into or induction into the World Trade Organization, the WTO, to show that they are really ready to become a true international trading partner again. And to do that, of course, they have to have an internationally recognizable currency, which is the new dinar, new Iraqi dinar, and they have to have it at a rate which people can see internationally so that they'll know, obviously, what the value of that dinar is in doing business with Iraq. Makes sense, right? So the WTO induction, my understanding, is supposed to occur tomorrow. Now, realistically, behind the scenes, we believe they were sort of asked and inducted to be full-fledged members of the World Trade Organization on last Monday. However, the so-called formal ceremony or formal induction is supposed to occur sometime tomorrow. And I don't know what time. I'm sorry. I don't know when that is. It could be that celebrations will start in conjunction with that. It could be that we start with what we're waiting for, and that is to be notified in conjunction with that. I don't know that, though. I'll say it might be a possibility. That might be a possibility that I would look forward to. Since it hasn't really arrived to us today here, at least not in the form of a notification. All right, so you guys know that already, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing a call, and you would have a phone number, a toll-free number to call to set your appointment. All right, so let's talk about what else is going on. We know that the call centers, which, remember, there are two levels of call centers, a primary and secondary level. The secondary is used for Zim holders, and sometimes it's referred to as the Zim call center. Okay, but the primary and secondary call centers are ready. They're staffed and ready to go. Same thing's true about the so-called redemption centers. We use the term redemption center because we're going to be redeeming the Zim as a bond. Okay, and that's why we use the term redemption of Zim and exchange of the other currencies we have, like the dinar, the dong, the rupiah, and so on and so forth, and the Afghani, and the Iranian rial. And those are the main ones that we all know about. So that is something that we are looking forward to do. And there are, like I said, guys, remember last time I told you, time before last, I believe, that we had over 8,400 and some odd exchange and redemption centers in the U.S., not even in Canada in the U.S., but just in the U.S. alone. So there's been an increase there, and that didn't include about 24,000 Tier 1 and Tier 2 banks that will be doing exchanges as well, at the same time. So there's about 33,000 redemption centers and banks in the U.S. that are going to be ready to go here for us. Now, the redemption centers, as I call them, exchange centers, they are also on high alert. They are on active status. They're ready. They're patiently waiting to start. Okay, and they have been for a few days now. Okay, I believe since Monday, actually. Here it is Thursday. So they're ready to go, still ready to go as far as that goes. Now, we don't really do rates and dates and rates. You guys know that. I try to talk in general terms, which I'm doing tonight. I can tell you that the rates are continuing to be traded and they're continuing to go up slightly. So that's all good. It's for our benefit. I told you earlier that I'd comment a little bit about Zimbabwe. I understood that there was a little bit of information coming out, even though it's a little bit slow getting to us. We heard about something in Zimbabwe that might be dealing with the government or possibly a change in the government. My understanding is what has been occurring has been done for the protection of those currently in power, that they are being more or less protected under, I'm going to call it sort of a house arrest scenario. Now, I don't know enough about it to go into any more detail than that, but I think that what is occurring there is actually for our benefit, okay, and not for our harm. I understand that there was a comment about the whether the Zimbabwe bond would be utilized in country versus those of us who do not live in Zimbabwe. My understanding is any activity that's taking place for in-country does not affect us and what we are holding. I think we're just going to be fine as a result of what is going on. So don't concern yourself with it. That's what I've been told. So I agree with that. I think that's really where it is. As far as information, I can tell you guys that there has been some things said out there to banks and other people to just keep quiet, to literally hush up. And I'm hearing that there's sort of a major information blackout still in effect since about sometime early last night, really. Maybe even earlier than that. I mean, it's been relatively quiet for about 3 or 4 days now, with a little intel coming through here and there. A little bit here, a little bit there, and we have just enough to put together a little bit of a picture of where we are. Okay, I know there's activity going on, even though we don't know exactly what's going on out west. There is some stuff happening there. We had heard last night, close to midnight last night, Eastern time, that this thing had been activated, was the word, out over in the Far East. And we think the paymasters there may have been given the go-ahead to get started. I don't know what has happened since then as far as that goes. I will just say that things seem to be in motion. We know that a major funding has been put in place to take care of certain of us for our redemptions. Not only for other currencies and the Zim, but for quite a bit. And this is movement of funds that have been taking place in the last couple of days. It's major. So I think there's been a little bit more of jockeying of funding in place to do that, to get things started. And I also think that we are really looking at this thing completing. I couldn't tell you whether or not we had all thought that this is our week, and it still should be our week, but we just don't know exactly when. We really don't. I know that there are certain things that are occurring behind the scenes, certain people I'm just not going to say it. There are some things happening behind the scenes that need to complete, that need to take place, and possibly need to take place before we go. But it's all happening. And there's more happening behind the scenes than we can even talk about. You guys look and you realize now with the news cycles that are happening, with what's happening even in this country, even with our government, all that information that's coming to the fore right now, and a lot of it's not very pleasant. You know what I'm talking about. That gives you some idea of the shakeup that is going around the world that's happening. And you know what happens as a result of that type of information. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm looking forward to this happening. I'm looking forward to having this go down, right away, hopefully by the weekend. But I can't promise that to you. That's why I have to tell you, need to stay with your plan A until this blessing comes through. And that's what I call plan B. Get back into whatever you can, or continue doing what you can to provide for you and yourself and your family until this blessing comes through, and then you'll have options. You'll have choices that you can execute on that. Okay? Now, when it comes to your projects, when it comes to the redemption centers and going in and explaining what it is, if you're trying to ask for a privately negotiable rate, okay, let them know. If you have a project, let them know that it's yours. If it is your project that you thought of, that you originated, and it's your baby, let them know, and let them know with passion, let them know with confidence that it is your project. Now, at the same time, if you don't have a project, it's perfectly okay to let them know that you're joining a collaborative effort with many people from the big call. And it's not about me, or it's not about my name or any of that. It's about the fact that we do plan to do some projects together, like Rebuild America. And you need to just put it as Rebuild America and say that you're working collaboratively with Bruce. If you want to use my name, that's fine, with Bruce and other listeners from the call around the country. And then you can just talk a little bit about what I've talked about to you. And that will be all you need to know about that. And that's really what you need to do in terms of your projects. And then, of course, I will say this, guys, from what I understand, the so-called base rate or basic rate, or should be screen rate, really, for us at the redemption centers is going to be fantastic on the Zim and on the other currencies. But just know that you're going to be fine. If you want to try to negotiate higher, you can, and that would be okay. But make sure that you do it with your plans for your projects. And if you want to talk about Rebuild America, you can. If you want to mention working with veterans, with the Veterans Retreat Network, you can. That's going to be well funded. I can tell you that. I know there are a lot of people out there that want to donate money to that. So I'm going to probably end up setting up a 501c3 for it, because I know there are a lot of people that want to give to it. And I wasn't going to take a nickel for that. I was going to do that myself. And I still could do it myself. But I know there are a lot of people that want to give into that. So I may set it up as a nonprofit. Okay. Just to let you know. So many of you may want to do something with us, with our veterans. I hope so. I'm really more interested right now in what we can do together to rebuild America. And I've talked about that till you're probably blue in the face. So, really, guys, we are at the point where things are very, very quiet. And I'm tired of hearing that it's quiet or that it's crickets out there or whatever. And I get a little bit, a nugget here and a little nugget there. And every once in a while, I get something that's a little bit more meaningful. But I'll tell you, from what I can say, what I can see out there, um, we are right there at the precipice, and we should be able to get exchanged here, hopefully, Lord God, please, before Thanksgiving, which is only a week away. So let's see where that goes. Stay with it, stay positive, and stay in faith for this, just like I am, and like Sue is, and like Bob is, and like Pastor Stephen is continually in faith. All right, and I'm going to ask Pastor Stephen if he can